Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. It is Local Chat, episode 235. I don't have notes. I didn't. There's no notes for this. 235, I think, or 6. I'm your host, Will Crosby. Joining me is all three other members, is the Subpixel boys. They're here. Ian Gibson, Jake Terrio, Kyle Bailey. I love it in the salmon shirt. Salmon's a good color. Oh, and it's a Subpixel shirt. I did not wear a special occasion shirt. I wore my Hot England shirt.
Bucky onesie.
The Bucky's one is perfect. I gotta say,
Bucky's.
It's on brand.
Pussies, please.
I tell you what, though, I done worn this beaver out. I've been wearing it too much.
Shit, we can't. We can't. We don't have enough time for facetiousness, folks. We're here to talk about the game of the year 2025, or as I like to call it, best of the Yearies. No one else calls it that, but I'm gonna keep pushing it through, like my mom pushed me out. It's not true. It was a C-section. Ian Gibson, would you like to introduce Will Lore? Would you like to introduce the game of the year 2025?
Yes. So for our game of the year format, we do something that is unique. We've done it a couple of years in a row. But basically the idea is each of us has separately put together our top 10 lists, and we put that into a spreadsheet. And it said, guess what? You guys liked 31 different games this year. And we said, there is no way we can talk about 31 games in a single stream. So what we do is behind the scenes, we use math and a little bit of negotiation to tweak that list down to our 15 favorite games of the year, which is what we're going to be discussing on this stream. Now, this is not in any sort of order other than chronological by release order. So we're not doing number 2, number 5, number 10. It's just the 15 favorite games of the year in the order that they came out. However, we will have a game of the year. We may have multiple games of the year, because the one thing we do is that each person's number one game is automatically game of the year. So we could have one game that we all happen to agree on. We could have up to 4 games where each of us picked our own individual game of the year. So as we go through this list, keep an eye out for these. Now, we are going to spend a couple minutes with each of these games, kind of talking about why we love them. This isn't really a debate where it's pros versus con. This isn't, why I like this game, why I hated this game. This is just focusing on the positives. We want to make this a celebratory, happy stream where the idea is like, hey, if you love video games, make sure to check out all 15 of these games. So it's just going to be a happy, fun time talking about games that we love from the past year. Now, before we get started, there are going to be some minor spoilers. We're not going to deliberately spoil these games in any way, but we're also not going to deliberately avoid spoilers. If there's going to be story beats that we really want to talk about, or there's something in the late game that we really loved and want to shout out, we're going to talk about it. So, just be aware. If there's a game that you really, really don't want to be spoiled on, maybe just, put us on mute or skip ahead maybe 5 to 10 minutes to get to the next game. But other than that, we will touch on minor spoilers as we go through it. Gentlemen, are you ready?
Start your engines.
As I'll ever be.
Oh, yes.
All right. Our first game came out late in the year, actually. Our first game, April 10th from Dogu Bomb. Blueprints. Who wants to talk about Blueprints?
I think I'll talk about Blueprints as the only person I think who could possibly speak positive on this game within the Subpixel ecosystem. These fellas don't like Blueprints, but that's okay. I like Blueprints.
Also, I'm sorry. I just got that Blueprints is like blueprints.
It took me forever too.
I just got that.
Oh my
also,
God.
to be fair, I did not play very much of this game, so sorry.
Okay. Blueprints.
It wasn't until after I think Kyle mentioned it, or not Kyle, Carl mentioned
just
it
now
in the Discord that I was like, oh, it's Blueprints.
Oh.
I just got that, so
wow.
literally right
sad.
now. Yeah.
I'm a puzzle game sicko. I love puzzle games, and Blueprints, I think, knocked it out of the park this year with a extremely tight and well-designed puzzle game that has puzzles everywhere. Like, everything is relevant, and it's a nightmare to navigate through, but it's a great nightmare. I think I have 18 pages of notes. There's a whole, like, after you beat the game sort of thing. I didn't engage with any of that because I'm not that much of a sicko. But just you wake up every day at this place. You do what is essentially pipe dream to make your way through the map, unlocking new rooms, finding new puzzles, finding new clues for puzzles in other rooms. And it just like all combines together and makes a really fun puzzle game. It's got a great story that you get piece by piece. I cried at the ending. It was quite emotional. And fuck the water pool puzzle, because that was the worst one in the entire game.
Yeah.
But
So
other
Water
than
tower
that,
sucks.
like the moment I figured out the like minor spoiler, the two paintings in each room have a letter missing between them of like what they are. So like roof and off, and then you map that all out in another room, and it like gives you a secret code for something. And the moment I my brain clicked on that was like, I have to get to every single room right now, and like was going through and right, because I just, for most of the game, I was like, why did they put this shitty wall art up? Like, it's so egregiously bad. And then later I found a puzzle where like you needed to know where specific chess pieces in different rooms were. And I was like, I didn't even know there were, like, I had seen those and I just thought they were assets. They were just dropping into rooms and stuff like that. So just a lot of fun flexing puzzle muscles, writing down notes, maps, figuring things out. It was a good time. It was an absolutely good time.
I do think hearing you talk about it and hearing a lot of people talk about it, I feel like this game probably has the most powerful puzzle orgasm of any game that I've ever heard of, in terms of like when you pop, you know, when you finish and you're just
That's
like,
a gameplay term.
you know, and you know, I do really appreciate and give this game its flowers for, you know, the people who stuck in there and really went into the puzzles. It feels like they do pay off big. You know, when you actually start popping those puzzles and putting things together.
If you have an average intelligence, like, you can make it through this game pretty easily. So, just kidding. You have to be really smart like me. No, I just think like this is, it's, what was the other puzzle game from a previous year? Oh, it's Golden Idol. Like, you guys didn't, Ian likes Golden Idol, but you guys didn't like Golden. And it's the same with like every one of these puzzle games where it's like, they're at the point where if the puzzle game isn't they've like gone so far down the rabbit hole where if they're not your type of puzzle game, it's just like, fuck this. Give me fucking nonograms or something. But yeah, blueprints. It rhymes with blueprints. Wait. Anyways, that's all I'll say about blueprints.
Hey, I rolled credits on blueprints, so I put in my time.
That's fine.
Jake, I like remember you commenting on it, like as you were playing through. You were like not live tweeting, but you were essentially being like, why is this game this way in the Discord?
And there were parts of it, I will say, if we're talking about positive things, there were parts of it that I really liked. I think the
quitting
literal,
the game and
the literal gameplay, the like constructing of the house and like planning out and being like, okay, I'm gonna do it this way, I'm gonna try to do it like this, do this, that, and the other thing. I didn't really like the art direction, and I liked the music.
Great.
Blueprints.
Let's move on.
Cool.
We got 14 more games to talk about. Next up, coming out 2 weeks later, April 24th, from Sandfall Interactive. That's right. Jeff Keighley's Game of the Year, Claire Obscure, Expedition, Twa Twa. Will, I believe you've played the most of this, but I'm not going to let you speak again.
Thank you.
Actually, you know what? If I may, just put somebody on the spot. Jake, have you played this game yet? I know we talked about how you should check it out.
We all talked about that, and then I'm like, I don't have enough hours to commit to this before we do the Game of the Year discussion.
I will say, I do think one of the best things about this game, I didn't finish it, but people were saying it's 25 hours main story quest, which is so short for a JRPG type game, because normally those games are like, fuck you in your life, it's 75 hours minimum. One of the best things about this game is how short it is if you want to just sit down and go through it. For something of that genre, it's pretty short. I'll start off by saying I think this is the game this is the up of video games, in that it is the fastest to make me cry. That intro sequence to this video game is fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Where if I may summarize it, they're just like, hey, here's the world. People are dying at a specific age. Here's the girl you've always loved and had a thing with, but it didn't work out, but you really wish it did. And by the way, here she is, and she's dying and she's dead, and everybody saw it coming. And it's just like, no, how could you do that to me? I don't know. Do you guys agree with me where I feel like definitely one of the strong points of this is not just the story, but the characters in the story and how they are presented and how you, and not just the twists and turns, but how those characters are dealing with these wild events around them and how they're growing. Does that feel like a strong point to you guys?
Yes, 100%.
Thank
That intro, especially, I hadn't seen anything about this game before it came out, so I didn't know, and I don't know if they showed this in the trailers, but at that moment when she dies, you realize all the petals that you've been walking past that are piled up everywhere are people.
Oh.
And I didn't know that, and that was just like, holy shit. Like, these, like, people are at the point where it's like, I mean, if you went into a city and the ashes of dead people were everywhere, you'd probably be like, this is awful. We should clean this up. But the fact that these people are at the point where they're not cleaning it up, it's just like, wild stuff. Absolutely.
And I think that's just to focus on the story a little bit. I think that's one of the most interesting things about this is the way in which there's a bit of a conflict in this world where it's like, we've been in this for what? It's like 66 years at this point, because I think it started at like 99 or 100. And they're like, we've been in this world. We've learned to live with it. That doesn't mean that we necessarily accept it, although some people have accepted it. And there's different ways that people are either accepting it, or, you know, there's a mention towards suicide, and there's a mention towards we're going to try and fight it, and people just kind of laying down and letting it happen. And it's so interesting to step into a world that's weird, but also lived in terms of you're getting different aspects of how they are trying to continue to live day to day, but also different ways of living day to day in such a fucked up world, and how to address with it and deal with it just flat out emotionally or mentally. And that's just some hella good world building right off the start.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Jake, or not Jake, Kyle, any thoughts on your playtime? I know you streamed it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the beginning of the game is actually the strongest part of the game. Infamously, I stopped playing on stream because I was so frustrated with the game and the systems that you have to use to beat the game. And I have not gone back to it. I think I put like 12 hours into it or something. I am like somewhere halfway through Act 2. I have a lot of issues with this game. I think the story behind it is more interesting than the game itself. And I turned into a hater before it was cool to be a hater of Clair Obscur after it won everything at the Game Awards. But yeah,
it's cool to be a hater. You may be alone on this, buddy.
Oh, are you kidding me? There's like a ton of people who don't like this game. I just don't. I dislike so many things about this game. But I don't want to be like super down on it. So it's our Game of the Year discussion. A lot of people like it, so I'll just basically leave it at that. That I got about halfway through and decided, you know what? I don't actually like this game. It's not for me. There's a lot of things about it that don't work for me, and it's just not clicking. I think I've sunk enough time into it. I'm going to step away. So I'm fine leaving it at that.
Yeah. I do think another strong point of this game, though, is, and I'll call out Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb on this. Dan Reichert is just like white man. And what I mean by that is that he's changed lately, but historically he's just like, I don't need anime. Anime's dumb. Like, I don't need Japanese JRPG games. Like, that's dumb. That's stupid. And there is something about Clair Obscur Expedition 33 where it is just appealing enough that people that do not typically play any sort of JRPG will try it out. And it feels like it is a gateway drug to JRPG style games. Like there's some weird middle point that Clair Obscur has where it is JRPG systems, but it's not drenched in anime or Japanese style, but it's also pretty welcoming. And it's doing kind of like it's not quite an active time battle, but there's a lot of active elements to the battle. So it's not quite as slow as a turn-based battler. And it's doing this weird thing where it's just a stepping stone between like hardcore JRPGs like Persona and Shin Megami Tensei, etc., where it's like it's hard to get somebody into those, especially if they're not into JRPGs or they never really played them. That's a bit too far of a step. Whereas Clair Obscur is like, no, this does not look like one of those, but it's got a great story and it's got enough of those elements and enough good JRPG elements there that before you know it, you're playing a JRPG, even if you've never played one of those before. I think that's another really, really good positive for this game.
Yeah, it's great. The story, I think the endings are fun. The final couple bosses are really neat, and the reveal of the nature of the world, I think, is something incredibly interesting to think about.
I will say, and I don't know if this happened on stream or immediately after when I was venting to my friend Al or Dave, who really likes this game, and he actually bought it for me on Steam. So the only reason I was able to play it was because he bought it for me. I figured out the ending with the amount of time that I put into it. I figured out the basic conceit of the game and was like, is this actually what's happening? And he was like, yeah, pretty much. And that kind of was like, okay, I don't need to play any more of this if I've already figured out what's going on for the most part. So I think, I'm in clearly the minority here, but I don't know. I think it does a lot of things well. It's got cool, unique art direction. Obviously, the music is really cool and awesome. I just think that the story behind the game is more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool how the whole studio showed up in
berets.
really French garb at the Game Awards.
It's how the mimes are.
It's from the intro.
In the video game.
Yeah.
And you can dress all your people as it. And there's a bunch of beach mini games, platforming mini games that made me throw a controller, but they're still fun.
Those platforming things. Oh my god.
All right. Great. Well, let's move on to the next game. Oh shit! I just realized this release date order did not work. February 4th.
Oh yeah.
We've got from Warhorse Studios. We have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Will. Yeah. I know this is your darling. Would you like to start?
Oh, my sweet, sweet Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You ever just want to... This is what gooning must be like. It's just, every time I play this game, it's... In the book I'm reading, Ringworld, one of the aliens has a device called a TASP that makes people orgasm, and he uses it on people.
Yeah.
And I think this game is my TASP, because I
read that book.
It's so good. And it's not often that a game takes a genre that you love and elevates it in such a perfect way. And for people who know me, I love Elder Scrolls Oblivion. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's just, systems are amazing. This is just Oblivion 2.0. And also someone who played both Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 last year, and we're on the whole probably disappointed by both of those games. They both have great things in them, but on the whole disappointed by them. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is just why are we not making these games? Why is this not the cookie cutter pattern? Just the interactability with the world, the systems in it, just being able to grab quests, live your life, do whatever you want. It's just, and it's also well written and well interacted. People are like, oh, you're this guy who did this, or you go up to someone's like, oh, it says good morning to you, and you're like, oh, good morning, sure. Or I'm gonna go pick herbs and get money for it and start making alchemy and all that sort of stuff. It just nails all that stuff so super well. I'm halfway through it. I'm 55 hours into it.
Oh god.
I'm on the second map. I finally got to a major city and my brain exploded because there's so many people. There was a guy I just talked to who was a scholar, and I think he was actually a real person who was famous. And he didn't do anything other than he gave me, I leveled up my scholar skill because I talked to him and, could, learn from him. And even talking to normal people about their jobs and the things they do upgrades your scholar skill. So later on you can, use it. And the other fun thing about all your skills is, they pop up like any Bethesda game or anything where it's hey, use your persuasion, or about books, so use your scholar skill, and you'll just start out really strong and then just completely lose it because you don't actually know what you're talking about. You just decided that you could do it, and Henry will start to say things that you remember learning from people to like be the excuse for certain things. And it's just really neat how they do that. I'm a huge fan of RPGs that as you do the thing, you level up the thing. And this game does that really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and as much as I love this historical medieval game, I want this like mold of an RPG to be applied to like if this was like a Fallout, it'd be incredible. If it was applied to like a sci-fi game or anything.
Sorry,
like,
did you just say if Bethesda made good games instead of the shit they keep putting out?
Bethesda's European RPG maker who got famous for a little bit. Yeah, it's good. Kyle, I know you also checked this out for a bit.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I just want to echo you. The writing in this game is stellar. Like, it's really, really good. And I think the combination of like A-tier writing with A-tier presentation and gameplay systems that feel, familiar but also deep is it just all coalesces into this really, really wonderful experience that oh my god, I have not even done everything. Me, I like to like sink my teeth into a game that I really like. I really like this game, and I have not even gotten close to like doing everything that you possibly can. It's a game I think that rewards second and third playthroughs. And I also this is not something that I could say about some games that I really like, but there's also like surprisingly very good LGBTQ representation in some aspects. Hans and Henri are very they have a relationship that you can definitely deepen in a way that it feels authentic to the time period that it takes place in, but also is just very well done. Like, it's handled really well in a way that felt realistic and spoke to me a lot more than like, I really like Cyberpunk, but the one of the major weak points of that game is like you're pretty much tranched into like whatever like character they want you to get. And with Kingdom Come 2, it's definitely it feels more naturalistic and it feels more evolved in that way. And I think that mad props to Warhorse for adding that in there.
Yeah. I think this is also a really good example of a fantastic sequel. I played a couple hours of the first game, and the first game is good, but it's a little rough around the edges. You can see what they're trying to do and kind of the world they're trying to create, but the systems don't quite mesh well, and it can be a little confusing as a player. And there's like balancing issues, so it's just kind of like a great vision, but a lot of rough points. It's not quite polished. But playing, the first couple hours of this game, it felt like they went from AA to AAA with this game, where they were just like, we've polished everything. Everything looks much better. Everything's running much better. All the cutscenes, like all the animations, all the dialogue, all the acting, all the onboarding, all the systems. And it's just like not just more, but everything's just done to a higher level. And for me, that's a fantastic sequel where you're not just doing the same thing, you're improving drastically on what you went before. And it's like I think I said this to you, Will, where it's like you kept playing those shit ass Eastern European RPGs, and it was like, I know why you like these, but they're like kind of fucked. And this is like the first one that is a non-fucked Eastern European RPG, and I'm so happy that finally exists.
Yeah, there's one moment I want to talk about quickly, which is like sort of halfway through the game. There's this castle that you go to. The von Berghoff of the region is like, hey, I need you to go to this castle and like figure out what's going on. Like we got to build up an army to go fight this thing. And so you like ride over there and like you get in there and everyone's being a little weird. And they're like, oh, hey, come pass the time with me. And it's like, okay. Or this lady like wants you to help heal people. And so you're doing that. And then I like came to this door that was being guarded and it was like a locked door. And I'm like, that's interesting. And I could talk to the guy, and talking to the guy, I had like wrangled some horses, and I had an option to like tell him that the guy wrangled some horses and needed help. And I was like, I don't remember that. But I was like, I guess so. I like told him that, and he walks away. And I was like, okay, it's like, this isn't perfect, but I've clearly stumbled upon a way to get this man away from this door game wise. And I'm like, okay, so I unlock the door and look inside, and it turns out these were all like mercenaries who had taken over the castle, and the lord was locked up in the basement. And like, I could have finished that mission without doing that. That wasn't anything on the mission to do with that. And so when I got back to the castle, talked to the guy, like, we could divulge that to him, and it seemed like we skipped forward in the quest, where before, like, there would be like a waiting period between it, and it like blew my mind that I could do that. And it like it felt, and it probably isn't unique to it, but it felt like, oh, I unlocked this new way to get to this next story beat, rather than kind of what they wanted me to. Like, I, as a player, figured something out in this world, being like, something's weird here. And that was so cool. It's very cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, that was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Next up, on February 28th, we've got a real sicko game. We've got Monster Hunter. Oh, I'm sorry, Will.
Oh, right. I totally
forgot.
You
never even said it.
This is also my game of the year. Sorry, I forgot that.
Hey, we got a game of the year.
Sorry.
Subpixel's game of the year.
If it was still Death Stranding 2 or not.
Well, I forgot to cue you into it.
No,
anyways,
game of the year.
Speaking of sickos, Jake, you want to tell us about Monster Hunter Wilds?
Mm-hmm. Another great Monster Hunter game. This, I am not like a true Monster Hunter sicko. I have dabbled since Monster Hunter World came out. I have dabbled a little bit in some of the older games, the ones that are readily available on modern consoles. But mostly I'm most familiar with the three most contemporary: Monster Hunter World, Monster Hunter Rise, and now Monster Hunter Wilds. And if you love Monster Hunter, it's just a lot more Monster Hunter.
Hell yeah.
But it's really good. I always love like the aesthetic. I think there's like an open world-ish kind of element where you can, if you really want to, you can kind of walk from one end of these segmented maps to another with very minor loading screens in between. But the worlds are really big, which gives it a little bit more of like, a hunting vibe, where you're like, okay, I have to actually like figure out where this monster is now. And sometimes if you're not really paying attention, like as you're fighting one and then it runs off, you have to be like, oh wait, where did it go? How do I find it? And you have to then like discern clues from the environment to figure out where it went. But yeah, these games rule. The art direction is great. The music is always awesome. These ones added two of what maybe my favorite monsters so far. Two different octopus creatures.
Octopies?
You're big on those tentacles, huh?
Oh yeah, they're really good. But yeah, these games are great, and I really really liked this one.
I'm sad I didn't play this. I was really excited for it, and
we can play together.
What did you play it on, Jake?
Time got away from me.
The Xbox.
Xbox. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for it to hit Game Pass. It's coming at some point.
I'm sure
Monster
it
Hunter
will.
World was on Game
and then
Pass,
we can
so
all
I'm
play it
excited.
together.
Yeah.
There's this great like learning. It's a game that I feel like is easy to pick up, but like difficult to master because all the different variations of the weapons and the move styles and whatnot. Ian doesn't seem to agree with me, but I'm going to keep going. There's just there's just some of the combos you can do with the late game weapons are crazy, and just really satisfying.
Do they still have the air glaive or whatever it's called?
They do have the insect glaive. I have not really used much because I didn't really like it, but it's there.
That's all I care about.
Well, Jake, thank you so much for sharing that with us. We got another sicko game here. I believe it's called Citizen Sleeper 2.
Another great one. This is just I've got 3 hits in a row here.
Yeah,
on our list.
It's from Jump Over the Age, January 31st. I did not get a chance to play this. Before Jake speaks, anybody else get a chance to play this?
No, I really
take it away, Jake.
I want to go get some Diet Coke. Hold on. No, keep going. I'll be right back.
So, Citizen Sleeper 1, incredible game, made me cry. So good. Citizen Sleeper 2, like Monster Hunter Wilds, if you liked Citizen Sleeper 1, this is just a lot more of that. The things it does that are new, of course, Citizen Sleeper 1 being one location, Citizen Sleeper 2 gives you access to a spaceship. You can go around and visit a lot of different locations. And so the cast of characters is a lot wider. The stories, the varying story threads are a lot deeper. And it feels, I think, it feels more desperate than that first game does. And I think for very like logical narrative reasons and thematic reasons, they give you a spaceship and you do very quickly have to start making decisions between like, okay, I'm out on a job, I need this money. But if I stay out here any longer, I'm not going to have enough fuel to get home. And just like very quickly, you're having to make these pretty awful decisions that the first game, I feel like it was a lot later in that first game where it really had you kind of like commit to making a bad choice. So I have not actually finished Citizen Sleeper 2 yet, despite it coming out at the beginning of the year. But I put like a good 8 or 10 hours into it, and every time where I was like, I must be reaching the near the end of this particular story thread, it just keeps opening up and unraveling. So I am very excited to get back to it. And again, the art direction is great, music is great, the writing, of course, is incredible. Yeah, really good stuff. The very last thing I did was I found a safe space for a cat aboard my ship.
The most important thing in the game.
Yes, it was the highlight so far.
Does it still have the guy who had the cart and was cooking food for you? Because that was my favorite part of Citizen Sleeper.
Well, there are restaurants on every single station that you visit, so there's just a lot more. I don't think unless it shows up later, I don't know if Erlen's Eye is a visitable location. It's a lot of new locations.
Okay. I really want to play it. I need to.
It's good.
Clearly,
it's good stuff.
Let's round out the sicko triplets with Islanders New Shores from the station. This came out on July 10th. Now, Jake, one question for you. I believe you only talked about this the first time you talked about this on local chat. You absolutely shit on this game.
Yes, I did.
And then I believe off stream you realized that you were playing the Nintendo Switch version, which was severely limited, and you switched to a different version, and now you love the game, apparently. Is that right?
Yeah, so I really can't.
Yeah, Carrie.
Besides the fact that all the gameplay systems, like looking back on the Switch version, all the gameplay systems are there. But for whatever reason, the fact that it was in that chunkier, clunkier, like 30 frames a second rather than 60, 720p rather than 4K, it really felt like a worse game. And I do like those seem like really stupid, pedantic reasons to be like, oh, this game sucks because it's not actually the game. But yeah, then playing it on Xbox, it's really good. I don't know.
You posted
the Lego
screenshots
effect.
You posted screenshots too. It looked awful on the Switch.
It's really bad on the Switch, but really good on the Xbox. And yeah, it's the same. It's all the same stuff. That I talked about in our Islanders video, it just really lends itself to the like. I guess fan fiction is the right word, but like the self-propelled narrative of being like, oh, I'm making this little town and I'm doing it to, get a high score or whatever. But let's see, what if I put all these kind of buildings together near the dock or near this, and it lends itself to kind of a, it's a neat little city builder. It's really delightful. I think everybody should play it.
Not on Switch.
Not on the Switch. My God.
Oh, we're going back. Nope, we're going back to Citizen Sleeper 2.
Let's keep talking about Citizen Sleeper.
Wrong tab. Thank you so much, Jakey boy.
welcome.
Let's move on to a little something called Donkey Kong Bonanza. This came out July 17th on the Nintendo. Will, you want to talk about this game?
Yeah, sure, I guess. Donkey Kong Bonanza has one good moment, and it's towards the end. No,
wow.
Actually, I soured on this game towards the end, just because it's too long. But I did really enjoy Donkey Kong Bonanza. It felt more like a showing off of what they could do on the Switch 2, rather than like the greatest game ever. It's neat.
How was Seth Rogen's vocal performance?
Oh, it was incredible. He was
Erotic.
so good in it. There's some really fun levels.
Couldn't stop laughing.
That are only around for a level, and then you're like, what'd you do here? But the tech is really cool. Smashing an entire place is cool. Once you get the elephant trunk sucking up all the worlds is super fucking fun. If you're playing this game and you haven't gotten to sucking yet, wait till you get to sucking, because it just, if you want to just find every item immediately, you just get everything. It's fun. The big reveal at the end was really cool. And I did a little bit of the after credit stuff, and that seems really fun, but I was kind of burnt out on Donkey Kong Bonanza at that point. Thank you.
Kyle, I know this was high on your list as well. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, I love this game. And I actually have a question for Will. Did you like mainline this game? Did you like play it like binge it basically? Like how
Yeah.
long did it take you to beat like play sessions?
Oh, yeah, I probably binged it a little bit, because I was still as of unemployed and was just Switch 2 is new, so I wanted to play a game on it. So yeah, I probably cranked through it pretty quick.
I normally would do that with a game that I really like, but I was super busy when it came out. So I really did piecemeal, at literally an hour or two here, 30 minutes there. And I actually think that made my enjoyment of the game so much better, because it wasn't, no part of it felt like a slog to me, because every time I came back to it, it felt new. And I thought that the level progression was really, really dialed in. It's that same thing. I mean, it's the same team that did Odyssey, but it just, the fact that you don't need to do everything in a level to progress is great. It's classic Mario stuff, but the traversal and the tech behind it, it's not new, but it just has a really nice coat of paint over everything, and it's fun. Music is great. The shape shifting is awesome, and I had a lot of fun with the bosses. But again, I think really my enjoyment came from the fact that there was a supreme amount of longevity to this game that I experienced just by playing it. It took me 4 or 5 months to beat. It took me a long time to beat it, because I don't think about my Switch when I think about playing games. I automatically I'm attuned to just come into my computer. So it's always a refresher when I go to my Switch and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't beaten this yet. Let me come back to it. And I think that lent itself a lot to my enjoyment, but I loved it. I think it was my number 2 for the year. Yeah, it's great. Everyone should play it. And it's just an awesome Switch 2 game.
Yeah. Again, it's gorgeous.
This game is part of I don't want to say necessarily new, but there is a burgeoning game design ethos exemplified by this game and Helldivers 2, which is the idea of, instead of giving the player nothing and they have to grind and work to get something, and by the end of the game they have everything, it feels more like they're just no, we're just going to give the player everything at the beginning and then give them more later. And in Helldivers 2, that's where it's no, we're just going to give you these crazy big explosions and everything, and then it's just going to get crazier from there. And in Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's just we're going to let you fuck up the entire level. And throughout the game, you're going to earn more ways to continue fucking up the level. This idea of, we're not going to limit the player and then give them better tools throughout it, but instead we're going to let the player go wild and give them more tools to go hog wild, kind of like Tears of the Kingdom did as well. And for me, that really stands out. Because Helldivers 2, it is a Sony game, but Arrowhead is still kind of on the edge of game development. But for Nintendo to kind of lean into that game design ethos, that makes me excited for the future of games. I really do think that's a better way to design games, especially now that there's a bajillion games out there. Is you can't just do the standard start from nothing to make your way up, progression in a video game anymore. That doesn't cut it. And so to see developers kind of lean into what they can get away with the engine and with the technology, and then giving the player the tools to go hog wild in it. It's really cool to see Nintendo lean into that new game design.
Yeah, you never feel weak or like that your powers or whatever are underutilized. And it's like the like an ice cream sundae where it's like, holy shit, I have an ice cream sundae. And then it's like, okay, now I get the whipped cream, now I get the cherry, now I get, the sprinkles. It just gets better and better and better. So I agree with that. Also, I want a hot fudge sundae now.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's go on to our next game. That's right, folks. We're climbing the mountain. The Aggro Crab Landfall Game Mountain, released June 16th. We're talking about Peak. Folks, this is the best friend slop game, right? It's just so good.
That's probably true. I mean, unless you consider Helldivers 2 friend slop.
Honestly, I don't think so. It's too fancy for friend slop. Jake, take it away. Why do you love Peak so much?
Oh, it's just really charming. I think I've not yet encountered a game with prox chat. Well, that's not true. Let me rephrase.
I was like,
he's lying already.
Wow.
Yeah. The proximity chat is a delightful addition to games like this, because the whole premise being you're all trying to teamwork climb up a mountain to get to where the helicopter can come pick you up because your airplane crashed. It just leads to so many delightful moments where you'll be like, oh wait, where'd Will go? And then very far away, you'll just hear yelling or something, shouting across a ravine.
His ghost will pop up.
Or then the ghost pops up. I mean, the gameplay is very simple. It's just climbing and grabbing and running out of stamina. It's the Legend of Zelda, but you never have enough stamina and your friends are yelling at you. Charming little art style. I love I love when they added at some point that you could adjust the pitch of the trumpet based on which direction and like the pitch of where you were looking. That was delightful. Great game, and I loved playing it with all of you.
Wow.
I think another thing about Peak that really I individually appreciate this, but I think everybody should appreciate it as well, which is that the friend slop category was kind of born out of these co-op horror games, Lethal Company, Repo, etc. And there's nothing wrong with those games. I'm just not a big fan of the horror element, but it also just started to become kind of copycat city, where even if you had a good friend slop game came out, it was like, okay, this one's still horror, but it's doing a different angle of it. Whereas Peak was like, guys, we could do a lot more with this type of like casual prox chat, co-op, and they came up with something pretty different. There have been climbing games before. A new climbing game just came out, this week with Karen, but like it's not a very utilized genre. And they saw the friend slop and they said, hey, we can apply that to this and we can make something that feels pretty different from all the other games in that genre. And it's very easy to be a copycat. It's much harder and braver to take what is popping off and alter it significantly into something else and take a shot on that. And to have it succeed as well as Peak is worth applause.
Yeah, Peak. I forget who I said this to. It might have been on a stream, but it's the first time I think a game has really nailed like hanging out, where like you're talking with someone, and then like as an example, on like when you're playing with like a large group of people, like on the save data streams and stuff, suddenly it's like me and Wes from Save Data, who we don't interact that often enough that we have things to talk about, and it's just like, oh, like it's like when at a party you go to the kitchen to get another beer and you start talking to someone in the kitchen. It's just like, oh, I'm with this person right now, we can hang out and talk, and like, oh, he fell and died, I met up with someone else and now we can like
oh, I pushed him. Let me go see over here
because I got bored. But yeah, it really nails that, like, hey, we're climbing up this mountain, but we can also kind of like hang I introduced some of my friends from back home to it like a month ago, and like they'll text and be like, "Hey, let's play Peak," and we hang out for 2 hours, like catch up on life, climb through this whole thing, and then you get out of there. It's super fun. And I agree with you, Ian. Lethal Company scared the shit out of me. Repo got to the point where I played enough that you kind of saw the ones and zeros of the enemies, where they no longer are scary anymore.
Which was the other one? Content warning? Where we had the video camera?
Yeah, content
warning changed a bit enough, but it was still horror, and that still scared me.
Yeah.
But so I like Repo, but Peak just not having any of that, and still having moments that aren't just being scared or being brave, but it's just like, saving someone's life, helping people out, and it's just like it's so much fun. It's so good.
Yeah, I think to Ian's point and to your point, that's I think what all the horror games, like the hangout comes from it not being a horror game and not being quite so objective oriented. Because like when we played Lethal Company with Save Data, I didn't really come away from that feeling like I knew anyone that better, because it was just a lot of like, we've got a task to do and we got to do it, and we're gonna die if we don't do it. Yeah. But yeah, this one it's a lot more casual, a lot more hangouty, which is fun.
Yeah, and I think it's a really good game to create very funny moments that maybe happen in real life when you hang out with people, like online, and then those can become viral or whatever. Like Aggro Crab has done an incredible job at cultivating scenes from those games where people are just doing bits. Or like there's like if you search Jonathan Frisbee, it's like a character that this guy made in Peak, and it's like this British explorer who's actually not very good at his job, and like they added a frisbee to the game because of him. Like they just add stuff. They're also really cool about doing like kind of Fortnite-y stuff, but it feels kitschy and funny in a good way. Like they had that Baby No Money like concert for like a week or whatever. It was like you would go in and he just would do 3 songs or whatever, and it was, I don't know, stuff like that is always fun. And yeah, I had a really good time playing this game with you and everyone, and it's fun falling from a cliff with friends.
Just to piggyback on that idea about like, maintenance and ongoing state of the game. Something else this game, this is kind of an indie game, but from the start, they were changing the maps every single week. So it always gave you, an opportunity to come back in and see something new. And they've been adding a lot of different biomes. So they're doing a fantastic job of not just putting this game out, but also supporting it and changing it up enough so that it's not just wanting to hang out with friends that wants to get you in the game. It's also like, they added the new lava biome, they added a jungle, etc. And you want to go back and experience it. And even if it's the same biomes, it's like, we beat the mountains last week, the new mountains this week, let's go try it out. They're doing a good job of maintaining this game and keeping it fresh.
And not to correct you, it changes every day. Loads a new.
It's
map.
every day.
Yeah, the map changes.
Procedural generation.
That's crazy.
And they've added new biomes, like you said, and also they made this game in 4 weeks, and they released it within 4 months of inception of it, which is crazy, absolutely crazy for the heights it's hit, the peaks it's hit.
Great.
There you go. Put that on the box.
Well, we're going to move on to the next game. This came out on June 26th from Kojomo Productions. It's Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I'm just going to fucking drop it here. This is my game of the year.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I'll say a little bit of peace because I don't want to go on a diatribe here. But we talked about Death Stranding 1 when I played it after the director's cut. And Death Stranding 1 is a weird game. Not just literally weird because of the story that it's telling, but because it felt like an indie game because of its mechanics, right? It is a stamina, watch your footing, deliver packages without dropping them to
Play
locations. Yeah, it's a fucking indie game concept, right? Like that is not a AAA game concept in any way, but it was given the AAA game treatment in that, they're trying to make it look good, and it's got all these actors in it, etc.
A blank check.
Yeah, and hey,
he went nuts.
Death Stranding 1 is a good game, but it's got problems, right? It's a little rough around the edges. It's got some weirdness in it. Holy shit, Death Stranding 2 feels like the perfect sequel like I kind of talked about earlier with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where it feels like Kojima watches local chat. And I know that because he addressed every single fucking concern that I gave him. He really did. Like, it literally felt like he was like, I know everything that didn't work well in the first game, and I'm going to fix it. And I know everything that worked well and people liked, and I'm going to give them more of it. And I'm also going to do a lot more on top of that. And I'm not going to go into details because I could do that for hours. But just off the top, this felt like an incredible sequel. Not just an incredible game, but where it was like, if you like that first game, this is just across the board more, better, and well, and just well polished all across the board in terms of how it comes across as the player, how you understand the story, how these mechanics work, how good it feels, etc. Who else played some Death Stranding 2?
I did.
I really want to. I don't have a PlayStation.
Same. This is where I would put my Game of the Year award if I had one.
If I had one
on PC.
Hey, Ian, it's funny too because your strict note to Kojima was add multiple dance sequences, and he managed to do that, which is crazy.
And they're great. It's have fun with your crazy story. Don't be so serious about it. You know,
of all the games I played in 2025, I could, well, other than my sweet baby boy Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I could tell you the exact plot of Death Stranding 2, which is not a thing I could do with Death Stranding 1, even after I beat it. I remember everything that happened in this game because the moments where you like learn a new thing and you're like, oh shit, like stick with you because they were well done. It's really good. It's a fantastic video game. I desperately want to talk to more people about the ending. And not from like a spoiler sort of this is what happened, but just like the visuals of it were crazy.
Yes,
and it's just
so good.
It's just so cool. I highly recommend Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Yeah, Ian said everything there is to say about it. It is absolutely picked up Death Stranding's corpse and delivered it unto us perfectly.
I know 2 more things I'll say. Oh no, go ahead, Kyle. Before I go.
I was actually going to ask or kind of dive into just for a second something that you brought up, which is like it is a sequel. But it feels like, based on people's reactions, that this is kind of what you get when a game studio starts to mature, and also when they don't have to build something from the ground up, right? So, like, they started with, a lot of system. Like, they're not having to concept nearly as much as you do when you're first creating a world. So the sequel inherently allows you to expand those things, right? And I think Kojima, again, I haven't played it, but based on people's reactions, like this is a sign of Kojima Productions and Kojima as a writer sort of maturing a little bit, maturing in the world that they created, however many years ago Death Stranding 1 was. And I think that, we've seen a lot of turmoil in the games industry over the past 2 years or more, just with studios getting shuttered and whole swaths of people being laid off and losing that sort of inherent experience that studios used to carry with them through the games that they would make. And I think that this is an example of just that in action and in practice, like happening in real time, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 3 quick things I want to hit. The first one is this game's gorgeous, and it feels like one of the very few true next gen games. Like, this generation has been a bit of a dud. It feels like a continuation of the last gen, to the extent that there's a lot of games here that are just cross gen that are still available in the last gen. But Death Stranding 2, how gorgeous that game looks, and how much it feels like the view distance is expanded from Death Stranding 1. Death Stranding 1 is a beautiful game, but this feels like they basically cranked up the resolution, cranked up the textures, but also cranked up how much you can see. Like, the game literally opens with you on top of a mountain, and there's this huge, beautiful vista in front of you, and you're just like, I want to go stand as close to my TV as possible because this looks gorgeous. The other thing is difficulty in this game. It's funny, people complain about this, but I think this is one of the strong suits, which is that this game is not difficult. And it can be easy if you just mainline it, or you want to do it the easiest way possible. And I don't want to say I struggled with that a little bit, but there was part of me that was like, this game feels easy, right? But what I realized was that I was taking the truck everywhere. And part of it was because that's the easy way. Part of it was because I like the truck. But the other part of it is like this game lets you kind of set your own difficulty, right? Like I could have done that on foot. I could have tried to take out every single enemy. I could have tried to, kill some of the bad guys and then get rid of their bodies instead of just quote unquote knocking them out. This game does a fantastic job of presenting this world and giving you the tools to kind of make your own difficulty, but in a way where it's not like I'm not necessarily making my own difficulty. I'm kind of making my own challenges. You can just do the mainline story. There's a star system. You can get all 5 stars at every location if you want to. You don't have to, but you get some stuff for it. So it's like, it's really letting you play within this sandbox. And the third thing I'll say is, holy shit, the multiplayer is so fucking good in this, right, Will? Like it's so unique, but it's also so good, right?
Yeah, it's like what Souls multiplayer should be more like, where it's just like a lot more helpful than just like messages, but also like that thing from 1, 2, but like just giving you things during boss fights, and like delivering stuff, grabbing someone's vehicle, thanking them for it. It's good.
Yeah, I became semi-obsessed with like trying to build generators and items in a location where people would give me the most likes. And I wasn't super serious about it, but I would always be like, all right, I'm going to put a generator down because I need a generator, but I should put it on this ridge so people can see it from either side. And it's like close to the path. And like you get likes when somebody uses your generator. So I would cheese it a little bit and put it touching the path. So even if people just drove through it, I would at least get a like, even if they didn't stop and like it. And it makes the world feel, okay, this is going to get literal. This is going to get like kindergarten-esque here, but it's like the story is about you're traveling this hellscape to connect isolated people and make them feel more connected to each other and like literally create this network. And as you're doing that, you are slowly becoming more connected and feeling connected to the other people online playing the game. And because you bridge the connection to this area, now you can see their items and they can see your items, and you literally feel closer to other people playing this game because in the story you have connected the people in the story. It just works so fucking well, and it's so unique that it's just a fantastic experience playing this game. Holy shit, Death Stranding 2. Any other final thoughts?
It's good. Play it.
I'd like to play it. Yeah.
I want to play it.
It's so good. It's great. All right, let's go on to June 5th, a launch title from Nintendo, Mario Kart World. Kyle, I believe this was on your list.
Yeah, it was on my list and is. And I'm realizing now that it's not on anyone else's, which is very interesting. Not that it deserves to be on anyone else's other than mine, but I was just surprised. I grew up playing Mario Kart on N64 and was never super into that iteration of it. It took me a while to sort of warm up to, I guess I didn't like the way things handled. I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't own an N64. I was always playing it on someone else's console. And just a little bit of background on me. I don't buy new consoles very often. I sort of stick with like, hey, I've got my PC, I've got my Switch. And this was the year, or this past year was the year that I finally bought a Switch 2 on launch day, which I almost never do. And having it bundled with Mario Kart World and sort of sitting down and that being the sort of opening expansive experience that I got to have for hours and hours and hours those first few days with that system really sort of set the tone for my enjoyment of the Switch 2 so far. Most of the games on my list that are on the upper end are Nintendo first-party games, which is crazy to me. And I think this game is fantastic. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that there's like a weird ownership that I feel over it because it is something that I don't get to experience very often. Just on its own, like owning this thing, get it, like having the time and the space to play it when I want to play it and to experience when I want to experience it. It's fantastic. It's fun, colorful. It's not super fast paced, which is funny because my game of the year is very fast paced. And it's sort of the antithesis of what my game of the year is. But I can appreciate both sides of that. The the play that you have with your cart on these maps and the fact that you can free roam, you can go drive through all the racetracks on the entire world and just find all the little tiny secrets that you can, and play around with the little in between sections where there's like time trials and stuff like that. It's just fun, but it doesn't force anything on you, which I really like, because you don't feel ham-fisted by playing it. It's not like you're locked into a career mode or something, which you never really are in Mario Kart. But the added expansiveness of the open world, I think, really adds a layer of enjoyment that I hadn't found in most of the other Mario Karts that I played growing up. And I don't know, I just like luxuriating in that world and finding all the little hidden secrets. Like you can get sucked up into the UFO and like control the UFO and fly around and stuff like that. I think that this version of Rainbow Road, in Congress with the music that they put on that track, is fantastic. It's like a 6 or 7 minute track, and it's just really, really fun. I think it's a fantastic looking game. It runs great. I found myself more and more of a fan of it the more I play it, and every time I return to it, it's a pleasure. And I just really enjoyed, even like just doing local multiplayer with friends is so much fun, and just driving around sometimes, running over cows. It's great. It's what I do in real life. So yeah, it's fun.
When I get a Switch 2, I'm definitely going to play it with you, Kyle.
Yes, please.
Yes, it seems like fun. I do, however, I think I joked when they did the announcement trailer. I felt like I had accidentally, the monkey's finger curls on the monkey's paw, because in my Lego 2K Drive video, I was like, I just wish Lego Racers was more like Mario Kart. And I was like, wait, but not like that.
Not like that. Not like that. Yeah. No, the fact that you can like parkour your car, I think, is awesome. And watch some speedrun trials on
I've
YouTube.
seen some crazy videos.
Crazy.
It's wild.
The fact that you can manipulate the game like that, and that it handles it like, yeah, of course, go ahead. I think is fantastic. I think it's a lot deeper a game developmentally and gameplay wise than a lot of people first gave it at first sight. And I don't know. I think it's one of those games, you stick with it, you find out, wow, this actually this is supremely satisfying on a level that really Nintendo is only good at consistently delivering. And it's just one of those games where I know 5 years from now, however many DLCs they've added down the line, it's like, yep, still going to play it, still going to have fun every time I turn it on. So I love experiences like that.
And in 5 years from now, when we get Joseph Kaczynski's Mario Kart movie.
Hell yeah. I really like Mario Kart World. I love when a new Mario Kart comes out. It's like a new Smash Brothers. It's kind of like the new default. You play it a bunch. I truly just wish it had regular Grand Prix. That's kind of my only biggest knock with it. I don't mind the open world. I don't mind driving between the tracks on that Grand Prix mode. But I just want the other Grand Prix mode to be accessible as well. Sometimes you want to play maps like that. Sometimes you don't. If any other racing game did that, I think I would say the same thing. But I agree, Kyle. I think they kind of took where like Mario Kart 8 was a little more technical. You were choosing the 3 parts to your car. It was a more not realistic's the wrong word, but more racing-ish realistic. Where
it's like a little grittier.
Yeah, and this game's more bubbly and fun. And I believe they redesigned all the karts to act the same way, with like the way the wheels and stuff work in a more like friendly way. So it's not like everyone's at huge disadvantages choosing different karts and characters and stuff. I think really helps make this more of a cohesive product. And I hope they keep supporting it and make smart decisions with it, because they've made some bad decisions, have been called out on it, and I feel like they haven't done anything about it. But also, Nintendo's always going to be the way Nintendo is about things, and that's annoying. But I really do also like Mario Kart World a lot.
They actually, it's funny you mentioned them not doing much about some of the issues, because I think it was back in December. I was trying to Google it, but I couldn't find it in time. They released an update that fixed like 3 major issues that people had, and for the life of me, I cannot remember what they are because since playing it, it's like normal to me now. But they added like a little thing where it's like, oh hey, people want to know what song is playing. So now it's just like you hit start and it like comes up. Like it was just like one of those things where it's like, I don't know if anyone was really asking for that, but they took the time to be like, yeah, no, we'll just add it in. Nintendo, as we know, takes its time. But I think when given enough time, they can turn a pretty good product into a stellar product. And I think that's pretty much what they did with Mario Kart World. And I want more.
Yeah, I do really love the it's really nice to see them, this is a next gen game. This is a Switch 2 only game. Seeing them bump it up to 24 players was an awesome choice. And it's one of those things where in retrospect, it's like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. More people. But when it was first revealed, it was like just a complete surprise to me. But one of those things where you're just like, yeah, I want more people in here. It's crazy. And then Knockout Tour as well is a fantastic mode. It's not something they invented, but I love that it's just like fun. We were talking about Nintendo usually doesn't step out like that, or if they do something different, it's Nintendo weird different. But for them to just be like, hey, we really like this mode that's in other racing games, let's put it in here, is awesome to see them do that as well.
My only issue with Knockout Tour, and I don't know how you solve this other than I have a couple ideas, is when like Karen and I play Knockout Tour and one of us gets like royally fucked and you're out at the 20 or something like that. Like I almost wish you could keep driving as a ghost and like be able to drive and you weren't just sitting at the like it's now changed to a camera view.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. But other than that, Knockout Tour is really it's the only time I've ever played Mario Kart online was Knockout Tour, because I was just like, I need to experience this with other people like racing. It was a lot of fun. I got creamed, but it was a lot of fun.
You creamed?
I creamed.
Yeah, you heard it first. Will got creamed online. Folks, let's move on to our next game. This came out May 20th from Saber Interactive. We're talking about
Sabre.
Roadcraft. Folks, this is a little bit of a lifetime achievement award. I'm not going to lie here. This ended up high on my list here. Similar situation to Dwarf Fortress when we had that on one of our Game of the Year discussions, which is that Roadcraft is a great game, but it's really a testament to what Saber has done with this series ever since, Spin Tires Spin Tires, Mudrunner, SnowRunner, Mudrunner and Expeditions game,
Expeditions 33.
And then Roadcraft. Expeditions 33, Claire Obscure, Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, and then Roadcraft.
Metaphor.
Finding Expedition 33 had trucks in it.
Spoilers. Hey, spoilers. Spoilers. No. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with these games, basically what these games are is like, this is... The more I think about it, this is such a fucking crazy idea. It's kind of is, but it's kind of not. But like 99% of games where you're like, I'm gonna make a video game about cars. It's like, you gotta make them fast. You gotta make these cars as fast as fucking possible. But this entire series is just like, hey, what if when you drive on the ground is slippery and it deforms and you can see your tire tracks in the mud and you get stuck and you got to slow down and you got to put your differential lock on. And it's like, fuck yeah. And these games have always been like, Will and I were talking about this for the Roadcraft release. The way they've been releasing these games is that they'll put out one of these, right, where it's like Spin Tires and you got mud in it, or Mudrunner and you got mud in it, and then it's like, oh, they want to do snow now. They could have very easily just done that as like a $5 DLC and been like, this map has snow on it. But instead they're like, no, we're gonna make a brand new game, but it's not a cash grab. It's like, okay, if we're gonna add snow, then we should tweak this mechanic and we should tweak that mechanic, and the snow should actually be different. It shouldn't just be white mud, and when there should be a melty area, there should be an icy area. Like they're getting these ideas and like fully implementing on them and then releasing a new $30 to $40 video game based on them. And I've played these games and really enjoyed them, but Roadcraft is the latest one, and it's done what I've always wanted it to do, which is, folks, you can build fucking roads in this. So in the past games, you had to go through mud pits. Right? And you got better cars and you learned the technique to go through the mud pit, but it was always a mud pit. But in this game, it's so fucking good because you're just like, fuck that mud pit. I'm gonna go get my dump truck. I'm gonna fill it with sand. I'm gonna put sand in that goddamn mud pit. Then I'm gonna bulldoze over it. I'm gonna put asphalt on top of it, and then I'm gonna roll that shit till it turns into a road. And fuck that mud pit. It don't exist no more. And it's so fucking good. Will, this game's really good, right? You played it with me.
I mean, I don't want to. I mean, we're not talking negative. No, I'm kidding. I did really enjoy it. It's like Ian said, it's the culmination of all the different systems they've been working on. Where it's just like, what if we just because every time one of these games come out, I've been hoping it's been like a Roadcraft, where it's like, just let me do all the things your other games let you do, and they never do that. And then they came out with this one, and you can do all the things. I don't think it's perfect in doing all the things, but I think this is the first iteration that tells me they're headed in the right direction, and I hope they learn that they're headed in the right direction, where it's like, I just want this ability to have this much control of everything and just build on that now. It's fun. All the different they also don't like make it shitty where they're like, you're somewhere random, like you're like, I think the first mission's like South Africa or something, but they're like always these conditions where like
gotta pave a road to this diamond mine.
Into this diamond, Mr. Musk.
The Musk diamond mine.
They'll we gotta get to Jeffrey's Island. They'll like, it makes sense why you're using these different types of vehicles and stuff like that, and getting through these terrains, and they're like not making up random kind of stupid stuff, but they're like, hey, we need to get the power back on for like the people who live there. There was a big storm, like we gotta reconnect back to the dam, we gotta lay wire with a truck, like laying electricity.
I forgot about that.
It's
so
wild.
Good.
It's so stupid. But it's a good game. And if you like this, if you're a pervert and you like this sort of stuff, if you're a road pervert.
I literally was just thinking, I stopped playing this game about like 70 hours, 2/3 and 3. It's because I was playing this game too much, like 8 hours a day. But folks, that was about 6 months ago. I think I'm going to play some fucking Roadcraft tomorrow. I'm so excited.
I will say I'm sad that I didn't stream this with you guys, because for like several lunches in a row in the weeks after you had done the stream series, I was watching the archives and I was like, this game looks really fun.
Yeah.
Good.
You should play it.
Let me know.
It's really good.
Yeah. You should stream it.
I may join
you. You know what? Yeah, like next Steam sale, just grab it, because I think it was 40 at launch. So with Steam sale, it probably goes down to like 30 or 25. And hey, this game, if you just play the game, and I'm not doing, well, I think I am kind of doing everything, but there's not that much side content. This is like 100-hour game. Like there's so much in here to do. It's crazy. Anyways,
you don't
folks,
have to get permits or nothing. Just make the road yourself.
Folks, that is a little something called Roadcraft. Next up, we've got a late bloomer from last year, November 19th, from Chase Star Unlimited LLC. Sure, that's a rough developer name. We've got Asbury Pines. Let me take a little bit of a breather and say, I know I came in hot and heavy for this game at the end of the year last year.
Crazy screenshot you picked.
That's the thing, is that this game doesn't really have art. They just have like the title shot with the logo in it, and I didn't want to use that, so it's just a game. Anybody else get a chance to check this out before I talk about it?
No, because of the way you talked about it last time, I was like, this definitely seems like something I want to play. But again, it's one that I want to make sure that I'm like able to dedicate my time and attention to. So I'm going to, but as a very large spreadsheet game, it kind of scares me.
Yeah. Well, I'll just reiterate kind of what Kyle said earlier. That you could play an hour or two of this each day and be fine, and it would last you a while. I'm a sicko, so I think I played like 40 hours in like 5 days, which was not the way to play this game. Will, do you have any thoughts on this before I go buck wild for it?
Yeah, I'm like at an hour and a half into this game, and it nails the vibes right off the bat. There's a really good song that it starts off with, like background music is really good. It gets you really pumped, and you're just like, what's going on here? And then you're slowly figuring out of like making these people work, learning about them. Time is passing, and then like suddenly there's like a different time that has popped up, and you're like, wait, there was like an apocalypse or something, and it just like starts compounding on that. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's very good. It's got a lot of Twin Peaks vibe to it. This game's wild to me because I love idle incremental games, and that's kind of what this is. And Will kind of talked about how the mechanic is basically that you have people and they can do jobs, and if they do jobs, if you assign them to a job, they generate certain resources, which then can be used by somebody else in a different job to generate another resource, etc. Or you can say, I need you, or you can assign that person to live their life. And living their life takes resources, but by living their life, you're unlocking story points and story beats and progressing the story. So basically, you're kind of juggling these people between assigning them to jobs based on their stats or having them live their life to progress the story. And the story is essentially a timeline, and it goes through multiple different ages, which when you start unlocking ages, you realize, oh, if I have a bunch of resources in a prior age, some of those resources will trickle into a later age. So I'll kind of have a starting boost in a way in that later age. And it's just wild to me that it's an incremental game that is telling a story, and the story's fantastic. The story's very, very good. I'm not going to spoil it too much because I don't want to. There's so many good beats. This is why I played this game so much. Like, the idle part is okay, but I was just riveted by the story. And there's this early story beat where somebody gets murdered, and they find their body, and they're like somebody chopped off their head, but there's only one set of footprints, and we have no idea what's going on. And it just it's like a Twin Peaks-esque town where it's just like very close knit, all these people who are smiling and happy in a way, but nobody's really smiling and happy. And you had started to get to know the person who's murdered. You had started to get to know their character and some of their backstory. Then all of a sudden they're dead. And that murder mystery is kind of like the key crux of the entire story. And it just grabs you right from there. And then there's just so many fantastic characters. And when you uncover these characters and you start to get to know them and like them, you just really want to live their life. Like, you're like, just give me the fucking resources. Let me grind these resources out so I can live this person's life to see what happens next. And there's like a character named Buzz Snow who's he's the sheriff of the town in like the 2020s. Yeah, I think his name is like Aldous Buzz Snow Jr. or something. But anyways, his dad was the original sheriff, and his dad was like a badass, and everybody loved him. And then he kind of, just followed in his father's footsteps. And he's not a good cop. He's a good person, but he's not a good cop. And he accidentally goes viral a couple times. Like, one of the times he goes viral because some teens found him. He fell asleep in a cop car with donuts on him after eating donuts. And some kids like took a video of him and put it on social media, and it went viral. And so like he's, people are just kind of laughing at him for that. But he's just like, I know I'm not as good as my dad, but I'm just trying to do my job, And then this murder happens and he can't really solve it. But anyways, he redeems himself like 40 years later. And when that happened, like, he steps up at a moment when somebody needed to step up and do something, and he fucking did it. And I was just like, fuck yeah, Buzz, fuck yeah, I knew you'd live up to your paw somehow. And then later on you find out his paw wasn't as great. Maybe his paws, everybody thought his paw was great, but he had some problems, and you figure that out because you go back in time and learn that story. And it's an incredible idle incremental game because of the story that it tells and how it tells, and just highly recommend Asbury Pines. Any other thoughts on that before we go to the next game? All right, let's kick it over.
No.
Yeah. Next up, we've got from November 20th, Bandai Namco Sora game, Kirby Air Riders. Kyle, I believe you're the only one that had a chance to play this.
Yeah, unfortunately, because everyone should be playing it constantly.
I do
all
desperately
the time,
want to play
forever.
this. The minute I get a Switch 2, there's like
we're just gonna play racing games together.
Yeah.
This is not a Nintendo Switch voucher game, and I've triple checked that multiple times, and it is not, which has made me so mad.
Yeah, I try to get all my games like physical if I can get the cartridge, and this was one I was like, I have the original, I definitely need to get this one on the cartridge. So, but yeah, Kirby Air Riders, the long, sought after follow up to 2004.
One.
I couldn't remember when it was. Yeah. I couldn't remember when it came out because I've been playing it for so long. But yeah, the long-awaited follow-up, directed by our hero Masahiro Sakurai, our Lord and Savior. And interestingly, his wife is also the original UI designer, UX designer of the first game, Returns.
The PNG and lady?
Yeah. I don't know if that was her idea, but yeah. So basically, as I said in my Mario Kart World sort of roundup, this game is the exact opposite of Mario Kart World. It is, you do not luxuriate in this game. You cry and hold on for dear life in this game. There are so many different facets that this game has. It is one of the most like baked games as far as like we cooked everything we possibly could and shoved it into
was a weed game.
Amen.
I have played this game while under the influence, and it's scary. But it's great. Oh my God. It is chaos incarnate, especially if you're doing, everybody's favorite thing is City Trial, which is the sort of battle, 5 to 7 minutes, depending on what you have the settings at. You just go around getting power-ups and hitting all the other players at ridiculously and increasingly higher speeds, doing more and more damage in the hopes that the power-ups that you gained in the City Trial will then help you do whatever final sort of mini game that they have you do. If it's a glide game, or if it's a dragster, if it's a battle, or if it's just a normal race, you can level up the cars, or the different riders as they're called, and oh my God, you can create customized art on all, which Nintendo had to start censoring after 2 days of being online on the internet, because they don't know how the internet works apparently. But then you can also like sell your designs, and the more popular one, it's sort of like a pseudo marketplace, something that the original game did not have. But this is basically, Sakurai said, hey, we made the original game under like not great constraints. I did one for you, Nintendo, by making the game that is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I know that this is not really confirmed because Nintendo said that they wanted it to happen too, but I believe that Sakurai was basically like, give me this one. And he cooked, man. It is like, it's so much fun. There's a frenetic, chaotic, pulsating, just sort of like inability to figure out what you're even doing, but you're doing something and it's fun. The music is great. To talk about Sakurai's wife, as I always do, the UI is fantastic. It feels really sort of like this really just pitch perfect way to display everything, but it's also very like tactile and clicky. The sound effects are great. All the player characters are fun. You can level up. I have one of the amiibos or whatever, and you can scan it, and it saves your cart and player, like your level, whatever character you are, and then you can take that to like someone else's house if you're doing local multiplayer, and just pop it into your controller, and all your stuff is there. It's fantastic. I love this game. I knew as soon as it was announced, I knew that it would probably end up on my Game of the Year list. I didn't necessarily expect that it would be my Game of the Year, but it's something that like I just have become so effusive about it, because it really does feel like the best kind of nostalgia trip, where you look back on something and say, holy crap, I spent probably 500 hours playing that original game, and I'm going to spend even more playing this game because it is better than that experience that I hold and cherish so dearly as a kid, that now I get to re-experience with like perfected levels of every sort of aspect of the game that you can think of. And there's really no other game like it. It is wholly unique in the way, like the control style. It's literally just hold down A to go, let go to stop, and use your control stick to turn. Like that's all you need. There is like one, you can add a couple other things, but really to play the base game, that's all you need. Anyone can do it. I could probably get one of my parents to do it if I really force them to, but it's so approachable. But the depth of the gameplay systems and the design and the sort of like minuscule little directions that they took for like building out the City Trial, the map layout is so much bigger, but it's also condensed, and like it feels big when it needs to expand and you're gliding around, but then at the same time you can get into these like really tight battles in the corners of the blocks of like this sort of downtown area with random CPUs or friends if you're playing online. It's fantastic. I love this game. It's colorful, it's fast, it's fun, and it's unique. And I think that's again something that Nintendo is really good at doing every once in a while, and this is that every once in a while for me. So that's what I have to say.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Kirby Air Riders, one of Subpixel's Game of the Year. All right, let's move on to our next game. This came out October 22nd, and then it came out again 2 weeks later. Then it came out again 2 weeks later, and then it kept happening for a bit from Ad Hoc Studio. That's right. We're talking about Dispatch. I'll kick this off. Dispatch, I wasn't sure that I would like this game. This game is popping off a lot. I know it's story heavy. I haven't been a big fan of Telltale games before in the past. And this is a lot of ex-Telltale devs. But what really grabbed me about this story is the amount of penises in this game all the time, everywhere. No, actually, just a quick aside real quick. I streamed this, the first time I played this, I streamed it, and I turned on the censoring because I didn't want to risk anything. And the censoring this is so funny because it's literally a big black box that they just put on all the, like, they're not blurring it. They're not trying to like hide it. It's really just like, nope, here's a big black box. And it's just like, key to where the penis is or where the boobs are. And it's very funny. But yeah, this game is, last year felt like a very story heavy year in terms of there's a lot of great games with a lot of great stories, and Dispatch is near the top of best story of the year. They do a really good job of telling these interesting characters in interesting situations. It's not just rote superheroes in a rote superhero world. It's also got this weird, like, I don't want to call it college humor. It's kind of like post-college humor where there's some like profanity and actually dropouts. Yeah, that's probably maybe a little bit where it's kind of like it's not really workplace appropriate. Like, it's a little bit too blue for that, but it's not just like stupid college crass. So it's got this weird sense of humor in the game that works really well. So yeah, highly recommend Dispatch for the story. Anybody else play Dispatch here?
Yeah, I really like this game. I beat it in one day, which I know it was released. They did like 3 episode releases for 3 different times or something like that. But
what's the total playtime? Maybe like 4-5 hours?
I think it was like
30-40 minutes. Yeah.
They don't take that long. And once you've done like your dispatch like shift, like it's pretty much just quick time events if there's anything after that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. The voice acting in this game is great. And I mean that you get great voice acting when you hire great actors. Like Aaron Paul, of course, is great. Jeffrey Wright is amazing as Chase, who actually like when they
Jeffrey Wright in this game.
Yeah. When they introduced his character, I like didn't actually realize that it was Jeffrey Wright, and he kept talking, and I was like, that has to be Jeffrey Wright, like the way his tonality or whatever. But he's putting on like an old man voice or whatever because of what happened to the character. But super interesting. Like I am so tired of superheroes. But if you can make them interesting, I won't be tired of them anymore. And Dispatch managed to do that. There are some like, stereotypes that they play into, but they're mostly held to characters that you don't interact with that much. All the core group of characters are like, there's trauma of all sorts going on. And I thought the main villain was really cool because his sort of thing is he like can predict what's going to happen. So that leads to some really interesting reveals later on down the line. But yeah, the core sort of story rides through each episode really strongly. And I was never bored. I was never at a point where I don't need to finish playing this today. I was always like, no, like a good TV show. You're like, I got to watch one more. And I don't binge stuff that often, but I don't know if you would agree with this, Ian, but it's like the perfect length to binge. If you had if you played it like I did, if you want to. But yeah, I really dug it.
But even just real quick, even in bite size, like I would typically play one episode, step away, do some stuff, and then come back and play an episode. So I played it over 2 or 3 days, but I would do it in, each episode's like, depending on the length of the episode, 25 to 40 minutes. So it's perfect to sit down, feel like you've accomplished something. There's a good ending point, walk away. It's very well paced, very well put together.
I did, because there's 8 episodes or 9 or something like that.
8.
And I did 4, and then I like went and got dinner and like walked around a little bit, and then I came back to it. So like I didn't like mainline it the entire way through, but it's just really satisfying. The story's a lot of fun. I had a weird thing happen with it though, and this is a positive, where the first like 3 or 4 chapters, I was really focused on getting like 100% on all of the gameplay, the dispatch of, you know, doing your job, and you send out heroes to, you know, save different things around the city or assist or rescue or whatever it is. And I got really, really into like, okay, I'm going to restart this level because I missed this thing. And I know if I time this certain thing correctly, and if I do it in this order, I can have the heroes that I need to be ready to go. And then I realized that after chapter 4, it's very telltale in that at the end of each chapter it says you were in the, you know, 80% of, you know, people made this choice, or like you performed better than 90% of people. And I realized that I was like, I wanted to be more invested in the story and less invested in that aspect of gameplay, especially since if you do what I did, you max out your like level really quickly. Like you can only get to like the level of dispatcher. It's like you're like a junior dispatcher, and then like dispatcher, you know, second whatever or whatever, and then you get to be called dispatcher, and then it doesn't help you anymore. So the only thing that matters after that point is the character relationships and the little openings that you get to like build up their levels rather than focusing on you. And that like switch happened right at the midpoint. And it's rare that a game can have me flip from focusing on the gameplay entirely to really digging into the story. And I'm glad that it happened at that point, because it was like the perfect moment for that to happen in the story. So I really like Dispatch. You guys should play it for sure.
Yeah, it's great.
I really want to check it out. I think I'm gonna get it and put it on the Steam Deck and have that on the TV and play with Karen. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, we talked about it. That's a good way to do it. Yeah. Next up, folks, we've got the last game on our list of top 15 games of 2025. Something from the Bloober team. That's right, the September 5th release, Chronos: The New Dawn. Jake, I believe you're the only person that has played this game. Quick question: how much did you like this game?
I loved it. Are you queuing me up to say that it's my game?
Yeah, if we could. I think we fucked it up no, I think I did. It's okay. It's game of the year. There we go, folks. Subpixel's game of the year. Woo!
I'm always a little bit worried that my recency bias, because I feel like this is 2 or 3 years in a row that like the very last game I've played in a year, even regardless of where it came out, like during the time that I'm like whatever the most recent game is, that's game of the year. But in my defense, I really, really loved this game.
Hell yeah.
I'm not like I've been aware of Bloober Team. I played Layers of Fear when it came out. I think I bought Observer on Steam, but I've yet to actually play it. But of course, I haven't played like what they did, one of the Resident Evils or one of the Silent Hill remakes.
2 remake.
One of the Silent Hill remakes, and I know they've got a couple other things in there. And this, I remember I saw like some promotional stuff for Chronos: The New Dawn, but then felt like I didn't see kind of anybody talking about it the last couple months of the year until it was on sale on the Xbox for I think like a Christmas or a holiday sale or something. And so I bought it because I had randomly that week I had seen finally a tweet in my feed of someone being like, hey, people are sleeping on Chronos: The New Dawn. It's really good. And I saw like a little bit of gameplay from it. I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'll give that a try. And yeah, it's great. It's like Dead Space meets Roadside Picnic with a little bit of Looper almost. Or like Terminator 2 a little bit. It's got a lot going on under the hood. The simple pitch is it's a survival horror. There are fleshy monsters that you need to kill. You are given a variety of guns and limited inventory space with which to stock ammo for those guns. But then it becomes this really sprawling kind of richly interwoven narrative about um, like what it means to be like human amidst like disaster of various kinds, personal disasters, collective disasters. It's of course Bloober Team, Polish game studio. It's a game that's set in Poland. In I think what I had read was like a reconstruction of like very specific Soviet town, one of their like experimental cities where they were like, it's the perfect communist city.
Epcot.
Epcot, yes, well, the world famous Epcot Center. um, but it's really cool because there is a time travel component where you like start in the terrible future and then you keep going back in time to collect important people who then you can bring to the future to then get them to like ascend into like a hive mind type situation that's working on like fixing the problems. Um, but yeah, it's really good. And I was like, I think I put in the Discord, I was like 2/3 of the way through it, and it was like a 7 or 10 for me. And then it became like an 8 or a 9 towards the end when it all starts to like all the different threads start to come together and you start to understand more of the narrative. You get some nicer guns that make things a little bit easier, not a lot easier, but a little bit easier. Um, and it's just a really good game. Everybody knows JT likes a game that he can sink his teeth into narratively and thematically and otherwise. And this is definitely one of those games. It's got a lot going on, and it is kind of the perfect time loop narratively, where you can do a new game plus because there are multiple endings, but you do the new game plus, and it does feel pretty frictionless, that you're just like, oh yeah, it's the beginning of another loop, and I'm aware now of what's about to happen, so like it's harder but also easier because none of the encounters change. You're like, I know there's going to be a monster there, I can prepare for it. um it's really good. I really loved it.
Awesome.
Better than Routine?
I will say yes. I also loved Routine, but I think Routine is a little too abstract narratively for me. It's good, but I want the things it leaves me chewing on. I wonder if I'm overthinking. Where this one is definitely like it has a very deliberate goal, what it's setting out to do narratively, and it really does it, and it's really good.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, folks, that is 2025 Subpixel's Game of the Year. We went through 15 games tonight, including Blueprints, Clair Obscure Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Monster Hunter Wild, Citizen Sleeper 2, Islanders New Shores, Donkey Kong Bonanza Peak, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Mario Kart World Roadcraft, Asbury Pines, Kirby Air Riders, Dispatch, and Chronos: The New Dawn. Gentlemen, let's go around the horn. Let's get some closing thoughts on 2025 in video games. Will, you want to kick us off? How do you feel about 2025 in video games?
2025 was a year in video games, and video games that came out that year of 2025. It was a great year, and there were many that came out. I don't know. What am I fucking gonna say? It was a great year for video games. Every year's a great year for video games. There's been a bad year since 1963.
Wait, when was the crash?
2001 was rough.
In
but
the 80s, the late 80s.
Yeah, I think it was early 80s.
Yeah, but that was a good
or something.
crash. Got rid of ET.
The Bandicoot.
Yeah. Jake, how do you feel about 2025?
I felt really good about all the games I played. There's like 1,000 clearly that I still have yet to play. I've been trying to be a lot more deliberate about like being like focused and intentional about entertainment, be it a movie or a game or a book or whatnot. So part of me having read some 60 books last year meant that I played fewer video games and saw fewer movies. But there's a lot for me to keep exploring, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good games, even from just this discussion, that I really want to go play. So yeah, I'm excited for this next year also.
Awesome. Kyle, how do you feel about 2025?
It was another good year for video games, as it normally is. I feel like it's, like Will said, it's very rare that like we have a bad year for games when you really like look into it. And exactly like Jake said, like all of these games I think have merit to spend at least several hours digging into what they can offer, and maybe finding out you would enjoy something that you didn't think you would based on, you know, previous notions or whatever. Chronos is not my type of game, but based on it being Jake's game of the year, I will wait for a sale and buy it and play it, and I will talk to Jake about it eventually.
We're all gonna play Soma
and
at some point.
Someday.
I'm
Maybe
not that stupid. It was a good year, and I will look back on it fondly for the games,
Awesome.
not for anything else.
Yeah, and I'll echo one of the things you said, which was there's a big variety in great games last year. You know, we didn't have clumps where it's like, these are the great shooters, and then here's the 5 great platformers. These are the 2 great racing games. All the other games suck. No, it's like all 15 of these games are very different from each other. Some of them feel very brand new or completely different in terms of what they're doing. Other ones are kind of iterating or evolving, you know, an established genre in a unique way. And for me, I was really trying to lean into trying out games that I normally wouldn't try. And I think that's because my 2024 game of the year was 1,000 Times Resist, which is not a game that I would typically play. And I had to force myself to sit down and try, and I absolutely loved it. And so going into 2025, I was like, I really want to make an effort to find more games like that. You know, I know that there's gold amongst these genres and game types that I normally wouldn't touch. And so for me, 2025 was a year of gaming exploration and sampling and charcuterie and buffet and a lot of fantastic games out there, folks. And guess what? We've got 15 of them for all of you to play. That's your homework. And it's due in 2 weeks, the next episode of Local Chat. Will, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah, folks, that's going to wrap up the chit chat section of this episode of Local Chat. We're going to move right into the video games we've been playing this week. No, I'm kidding. That's going to be it for this week. I've been playing Splinter Cell Pandora tomorrow. We will be back, like Ian said, in 2 weeks with more Local Chat. Shout out to Nova Tuna for hanging out during our Game of the Year discussions. Thanks for being here. Tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, more Roblox. More kids, I guess. Man, we found the chamber of fetishes last week.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear some like barely legal teenagers talking about their fetishes online with each other, go check out the previous
people claiming to be 18, 19, and 20 that definitely did not sound that way. It was wild. It was
wild.
Man, exposing.
No, Your Honor, I did not hear him say that.
We will be back with that tomorrow, like I said, and then more stuff next week. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out and watching. We'll see y'all next time. Happy 2026. Bye.
Bye.